According to marketing genius Russell Brunson, every email subscriber is worth $1 per month. So even if you had just 1,000 subscribers, that's $1,000 in monthly potential revenue just sitting there. The key to unlocking this revenue is to use email to consistently deliver value so that you can stay top of mind with your audience. But let's be real, writing and formatting newsletters takes forever, and most people just can't keep it going long term. But what if your newsletter wrote itself? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you a 100% automated newsletter that pulls the latest news and insights in your niche, adds AI generated images and tips, includes your latest blog post or YouTube video, and sends itself to your growing list without you even having to lift a finger. I'll be showing you how to set this up step by step, and I'm giving you my free templates that you can easily import so that you can get started even faster. So the main tool you'll be using to create and send your newsletter is Brevo, and a huge thanks to them for sponsoring this video. Brevo is going to be the canvas that allows us to easily create and send a fully customizable automated newsletter. So the way this is going to work is, first we're going to easily create a template in Brevo that will have all of the variables for the content that we want to dynamically swap out for our automated newsletter. And then we're going to use a no-code automation tool to just fill in all of the sections that we want dynamically created. So the first step is to create your free Brevo account. Just click the link below and you'll be taken to this page right here. And because they're sponsoring this video, they're actually hooking you up with a 50% discount on any of their paid plans. But you actually don't need any of their paid plans to do this. And that's what makes Brevo pretty awesome, is everything I'm going to show you can be done for free. So you just sign up for the free account. You get to send 300 emails per day. You get access to the API, which is the thing we'll need to do the automated emails, and we have access to everything else, the customizable templates and the drag and drop editor. And you don't need a credit card or anything to sign up. Just click the link and you can sign up with Google in a few seconds or enter your email. And then in the future, if this is working for you and you do want to send more emails, then you can use my code to get 50% off, and it's a pretty good discount. But again, you don't need to start with that. So after signing up for Brevo, which takes about a minute, then the next thing we're going to want to do is go to contacts. And then we want to make our first list. And so you can go to lists here and then go to create a list, and we can call it whatever you want. You could say test list automation or whatever you'd like, and you can create folders if you'd want to. And then you choose your folder. You could say your first folder, doesn't really matter. And then within any of these lists, you can just start adding contacts. You can manually add a contact, or you can import contacts with a CSV file if you'd like, if you have a lot of contacts that you want to import. For now, I suggest you just import maybe 10 or 20 contacts, or even just manually create them so you can test your automation and see if this is something that's going to work for you. So as an example, I have test here with 2 of my own personal emails. That's all you need, but again, if you want to import your whole list, you can do that too. Next, we're going to go over to campaigns, and here's where we're going to make our template. So just go to template, and then you can go to create template, and we're going to create an email template. Now name your template like test automation is what I'm calling mine. Example, that's what I'm to, let's call it that. Now this subject line is actually not relevant because we're going to use automation to override it. So you can say temporary subject, it doesn't really matter, but you do have to fill it. It won't let you proceed, but it's irrelevant what you enter in there. So you don't really need to mess with anything. Who is your from email, your from name, so make sure you fill that in. Then you go to the next step. Now you can choose from a number of templates, which is pretty awesome. And so there's a ton of templates that you can use, but I want to keep this really simple for you guys. And so for that, I'm going to actually start from scratch. So I'm just going to go start from scratch. And I'm also doing this so I can show you how easy it is to make this super custom newsletter for your own business. So once you get here, everything is drag and drop. Just go to sections. And so the first thing you might need is you might want a header. Say, yeah, you know what? I want a logo. And so when you did your setup, it would have imported in your logo from your website, or you could have added it manually if you don't have a website, but it would have imported all your branding for you. And so you should have that already set up. It takes like 10 seconds, just scans your website and adds your branding. So there you go. And now we have our header. So let's say in our newsletter, the first piece of content we wanted to include was a section where you're going to pull the latest news in your industry. And so you want to provide value in keeping people up to date with your newsletter. And so they can follow your newsletter to be notified of the trends out there in the industry. That's a very common use case for a newsletter. And that's a lot of where value comes from newsletters. And a lot of businesses have built their newsletter purely being around news. But I'm going to show you a few different ways to build your newsletter and what different kinds of content you can include, so you can customize this to make sense for what you want to do and the kind of experience you want to deliver. So simply, again, go in here and drag this in right here. So you can see there's tons of designs, whatever you'd like, but let's keep it simple here. So I actually don't want this extra text. So what's going to happen here is we want a article. And so we want to, let's say, summarize an article. So we want the latest article in our industry in a way we specify. We want it to have an image, we want the title, and we want the summary of that article. And then maybe we're like, you know what? I want them to be able to read the full article. So that's how easy it is to create this. Now, here's where the dynamic part comes in. And don't worry, it's actually very, very simple. Let's start with the image. We want to insert an image dynamically. So right now it's actually letting you pick an image, but we don't want it to be an image that we're selecting. We want it to be a variable that can be filled in automatically for us. So it'll always be a templated variable where every edition of your newsletter will have a different image generated, but it'll always have the same structure. So all you have to do, and at first this seems a little strange, but it's actually very, very simple. So all you ever have to do is enter this whenever you want a variable, and I'll break it down. So it's this curly bracket, params dot, and your variable name, curly bracket. This can be absolutely anything you want. So we could call it like article underscore image URL, because we need to get an image URL to replace this. But you could literally enter this right here, and you don't have to go, I don't want to get too into coding, but you don't have to go some special place and declare your variables or anything like that. You can just write the variables as you go in your head, whatever you want to call it. So, and all you need to do is now copy and paste this. And so let's say this title here, actually, we don't want this title. We're going to go here and we're going to go article title. I'm not doing any special coding like I need to know that it's called article title. No, I could call it anything. Like I could, just to give you an example, I could call this, this would be article summary, right? But I could call this article banana. And then that banana would be the variable, right? But obviously you wouldn't do that. So it'd be article, so like article summary, just like plain English, right? So now we've created the image variable, the title variable, the summary variable, and we need a button, right? So we say read full article, like so. You're gonna go read full article. Okay, well, what about the link for that article? You guessed it, article URL, plain English. And then we just save it. Make sure you keep saving. And then let's just say, for example, you now wanted another section. Let's say your second section is a section where you want, let's do another text section here. And let's say you're like, actually, and you might want to make it look nice. So maybe you want to put a divider in there first. If you go in blocks, you can drag in a divider anywhere you'd like. And let's say you wanted to make this is too harsh. One is nicer. Okay, and so here you might say quote of the day. Let's say you wanted to do a quote of the day from your industry, right? And so you could just call it quote of the day, and then you guessed it, for this one you would just go, and remember, after the dot you could just say quote. We're going to use AI to write all of this for you. So AI is going to come up with your quote for you from a famous person or whatever you'd like. And so really any section you want to make dynamic, you literally just follow this very simple format. Everything's the same. You just copy and paste this thing, and just after the dot, you give the variable a name, and you can make it whatever you'd like. So there's not some special kind of reference guide you got to look up and know what those variables are or something like that. No, it's very, very easy. And so then you just keep saving as you go. And then when you're ready, you hit save and activate. Now, in the interest of time, I've actually built out a more robust newsletter so you can get a sense of what can be done. So I showed you how we built this part, and I showed you how I did this part. And so you could really add anything you'd like. So for example, let's say you want a section where you want to pull in your latest YouTube video. And so you could do that. And again, the variable would very much be YouTube title. So this is the title of the YouTube video. This is the YouTube thumbnail image. This is the URL to watch it. You can see that same format followed throughout. So anything you include, if you, for example, want to have 3 articles, then you would just make your variable article 1, article 2, article 3. It's very, very easy. And then you could also, which is really helpful, make static sections. So for example, you've seen that I've created like this content here, and you can book a call with me. And so you could see here, you could say, I want a section like this, and you can just drag it in. And if this is a static section that never changes, you only have to design it once, and it'll always just be in your template. Like these sections for me in this example, let's say they don't change. So always there's no variables or nothing in here. I'm just dragging it in, changing it, clicking, if I want to make a button to book a call, I just go here, I just put the website link. Very, very easy. So this part is really done easily as well, and you can just make all of this. And to make this even easier for you, you can actually get my entire template I'm showing you here, so you have a reference example that you can either modify or make your own from. I'll link that down below so you can grab it for free. And then once you click that link, it's going to ask you to import your template. But make sure you create your account first before clicking the link, because it won't take you to this page if you're not already logged in. So first make your account and then click the link to import your campaign. And just to wrap up on the template, the possibilities are endless here. If you didn't want a YouTube video, you could have done the exact same thing with your blog or whatever content you want to pass. At this stage, what you're building is the placeholders for all the content that you want dynamically updated. So now that we've made our newsletter template, which will have both those dynamic sections that'll update every time that there is a new edition of your newsletter, as well as those static sections that you want to keep the same to promote your resources or products or services. Now we want to be able to send the content to those dynamic sections so that they update. So to do this, we're going to use a really easy to use automation tool called Make. Just click the link down below and you can sign up for free. It takes a few seconds. You can sign in with your email. So after the signing in, hit create new scenario. Then you're going to want to click the link down below and grab my free blueprint that's going to make building what you need to build here 1,000,000 times easier. So just click down below, download that, and then once you've done that, go to import blueprint, go to choose file, and then simply open my blueprint, hit save, and you get my entire build right there. And don't worry, I'm going to explain every single item here and explain how it maps back to exactly what we built. So going back to our newsletter, the first section in this example newsletter we're coming up is we want an article in our niche, and we want to be able to provide that automatically. So we don't want to have to go off and find this article and summarize it or do anything. We want all of this to be 100% automated, like I promised, like a lot of my automations are. My gold standard is 100%. And I think that's what you guys want too. So I'm happy to provide. So here we are right now, and that's what we need. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a module called RSS, and that's what we see here. So click the link down below and you can sign up for free. You get a free trial. And so once you've created your account, and again, it takes a few seconds to sign in with your email, then what you're going to do is go to new feed, and basically this thing is going to find articles and content for anything you can imagine. So the simplest thing you can do is actually just type keywords, and I'll show you that in a moment, but you could get content from an Instagram feed, from Tumblr, from Pinterest, from Telegram, YouTube, CNN, anything you want. You could do a Google News feed. You could really turn any website or resource or app into a news feed. It's really, really impressive. But let's keep it simple here, right? Let's say you just said AI tools, because that's kind of what I do, AI and automation tools. So I'll give you my example. And so you see it pulled up a bunch of articles. And again, the better you get with picking your source, the better. So if you have a news source that you follow that has really good quality articles, or if you have certain influencers you follow, so it pays to take the time to pick a really good source here, because garbage in, garbage out, right? But for the sake of time, I'm just gonna type this, and it doesn't really matter. It's just an example. So all we need to get is that. You saw how I hit saved, and I copy my XML feed. These aren't the best articles, but you get the idea. Then we're gonna head over to here, and we're gonna paste this in. And then you can just go to select new RSS item just to see if it's pulling in, and it says, boom, there you go. I was an AI skeptic until these 5 tools changed my mind. What's that about? Anyways, so that's what we're going to be using to grab our articles. Then next, we're going to use ChatGPT to summarize that news article and to format it so we can insert it into our newsletter. So if you haven't signed up for ChatGPT yet, just go to platform.openai.com, go to settings, copy down your organization ID, then go to API keys, create a new secret key, go to billing, and add like $10 or $5. It's gonna last you an eternity, but you do need to add some money. So do that first. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go here, you're gonna go to your connection up here, and you're gonna go add, then you're gonna paste your API key and your organization ID you got from the ChatGPT site right here. And remember to load $5 or $10. That's all you have to do. So once we've done that, then we're ready for ChatGPT to summarize this article so that we can use it in our newsletter. So you see the prompt right here. This is all written for you, as you'll see, and all you need to do is modify this if you want to use the same example template that I'm using in this newsletter. So you're an AI tools expert, obviously change this to your niche. If you're like a medical professional, or if you're a fitness coach or something, make it make sense for you. You just have to change the prompt and you can speak to it in plain English. Summarize this article in a way it makes it easy to include as a short summary in a newsletter, and write a compelling title. Be sure to include the URL to read the article. So I've given it plain English, and then I've said, hey, output the results like title, summary, URL, which are 3 of the elements we need: title, summary, and the URL. Those are 3 of the elements we need. And then it's going to do that, but return the summary back in a format called JSON so that we can get those variables. Don't worry if you're not understanding any of this. It's all done for you here. The point being is you see title, summary, and URL. If you had 3 different ones, then within this code I've written, you would literally just change title, summary, and URL. If yours was, title 2, title 3, title 4, summary 1, summary 2, you would just change this right here. But if you're keeping it the same as mine, then you don't need to worry about any of that. And then that's all for this module here. Next, we know that we need this image. Well, we're actually going to use Dolly here, which is an AI image generator, and we're saying create an image from this article summary. Do not include any text in the image. It's important to say that because, AI image generation doesn't do text perfectly. So if you're doing the same build I am here, you don't need to touch anything in here. I've already done everything for you. But if you want to make some modifications, you're free to do that, but you don't need to touch anything here. I'm going to assume that you don't want to touch anything here. And that's what's just going to generate this image for you. Okay, so the next thing we need to do then is we need a title for our newsletter. Because remember, we used like a temporary title because I told you that it would be updated automatically. Well, what we're going to do is very simply is, again, we're just using ChatGPT and we're saying write a compelling subject line summarizing the contents of this newsletter. Well, it knows what this article was about. It knows the tip that it just wrote. And so it's going to use that to write the title. And if you had different sections, you would just include each of those sections in the list of things it has to consider in writing this newsletter. So you're just saying, hey, here are all the things that are going to be in this newsletter. write me a title. And so that's a simple way of doing that. So now we have this image, we have this title, we have the summary, we have the URL, we have this week's tip, and we have the content right there. I'll get back to YouTube in a moment. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna map all of this out now in the Brevo module. So we have all the content and we have the template. Now we just need to send the content to the template. And it's very easy. So you can see I've mapped everything here. And so obviously enter your own name. So you're gonna choose your sender, which is gonna be you, right? And it'll just be automatically populated for you. Leave all this blank. Your template, choose the template either that you made or if you imported mine in, whichever template it is, choose the right template. And then in your subject line, you're actually just going to include the subject that this thing just wrote for you. And you can see it's included for me already. And so if we go here, we know that that's right subject and we see choices, message, content. That's where I got that. Now we want the scheduled at to be now because you want it to send immediately when the automation runs. And there, you can include exclusion lists and inclusion lists. So if you want it to go to some of your list and not your list, you can set that up right here. But let's just say you don't have an exclusion list and you're just sending it to that new test list you made or whatever list you made. If you imported your actual list as well, you would just include it here. So whoever you want to send it to, you can skip all of this. Then you want to make sure that advanced settings is on, and it should be if you imported my module. But if you don't see this part, then you need to make sure this is toggled. And so then very simply now we're just passing the values. So if you remember, we set up, well, article dash title. And what is the title? Well, we're going to get the title from what ChatGPT made. And then this one is article summary. Well, here's the summary, and that's why we coded it in a way so we could grab that variable. Where's the image URL? Well, we're going to get that image from this one. And you can see all of this is filled in for you if you're following my exact template. And so article URL, we're just grabbing the URL from the template. And so if you had different variables, let's say you had article 2, then you would add another parameter here called article 2. You'd add another parameter and you would map it with however you are filling that parameter by most likely duplicating these modules. So I'm trying to show this to you in a way where it's customizable to whatever you want to do. And so you would just keep on adding these variables in here, and this is how Brevo is going to know to fill them in. And then there's nothing else to change here, and you can just save it. Now, heading back to this section here, I saved it for last because this is a little bit more advanced. So I'm going to go through this very quickly. I want to keep this tutorial really simple and approachable for most people to build on top of, but I'm just sharing this in case you want to try a little bit more of an advanced use case. But again, I'll go through it quickly. So you could include content that you've already written. So here you're grabbing content from one source, and then you're grabbing content from a second source, whether that's YouTube, a different social platform, or a blog. And so in that case, if you just wanted the one source, instead of this RSS module, you could have done a YouTube module, and then it would have gotten the title, the thumbnail, and the URL. And so instead of the RSS, you would have used YouTube. And again, I'm showing you how to customize this because no two newsletters are going to be the same. So that's one way you could have approached it. If you wanted two sources, then you'd have to make a second scenario, and you'd have to grab the YouTube videos and put them in maybe a database like this, and then use that database to fill in the variables you set up in Brevo. So you have the database variable here for the image, for the title, and for the URL. And so that would be a little bit more of an advanced use case, and there's a few different ways to do this, but I just want to share that in case you do want to have multiple sources in here. For the sake of this simple example, I've actually just added an image, the value, and the YouTube URL to show you how it would work, because again, I don't want to make this video 2 hours long. But it is certainly possible, and I've given you enough instructions if you are a little bit more inclined to do it, how to do it. Okay, so now once all of that is set up, make sure that you've activated your email. It says save and activate. It will not work if it's not activated. Now it says activated. So this is your template. This is here. Let's do it. Moment of truth. Let's first go in here and choose where to start, because we don't want to wait till the next item happens. Just want to choose it now. How to be an entrepreneur in the age of AI. Interesting. Let's hit go. And so it now grabbed the article. It has summarized the article, and we can see it gave us the variables we need: the title, the URL, and the summary. So it made the image, it wrote the tip, it wrote the subject, and it posted it to Brevo. Now we are gonna go to campaigns, and we can see that it's running. So this is right now running. And then if we head over to our email, we can see, boom, thriving as an entrepreneur in the era of AI. Do you see this week's tip? It's about some Eisenhower matrix, and you can see it pulled in the YouTube video, and there's these static sections that we've created. And once you've set this up one time, all of this is going to be done for you 100% on autopilot. And then the final step is to decide how often you want this going out. So you might want to go here, go to days of the week, and let's say you want it on Friday at 11:14 a.m. Random, but sure. And there you go. That is when it goes out every single week. And for a newsletter, either weekly or even daily is okay, I think. It really depends on the type of content you make. But that's how easy it is to set all of this up. And again, you can download both my template in Make and my template in Brevo to really shortcut your learning here and to use as an example of how to customize this for your own use case. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel for more AI automation content just like this. In fact, if you want 2 more 100% automated methods to create content, check out these 2 videos right here.